Hello, so this is part 2 of my top, well, not top, just all of my movies that I watched last year. Uh, I'm gonna try to rush through these last 4 out of 5 parts in like this one week, because I'm like gonna try to get this whole thing through. As you can probably tell, I'm not reading off a script for this one, unlike the last one. I wrote a script for this one, but it was on my computer, which I actually left at my grandma's house. And I didn't want to rewrite a script, but, hopefully if I do actually do the next episode, I'll write a script and it won't suck. Also, one movie got removed off of Letterboxd. That was on my top, not just all the movies. So it's not 50 movies anymore, it's 49. That might have been the case initially, but who knows. The thing about Hopelessly Lost is it's very strangely inconsistent, because I cannot express how beautiful this movie is. I was initially going to be like, oh, just look for yourself. And I would show images from the movie. But when looking up photos from the movie, there's like not that much of the amazing scenes you see. It's got this kind of just large, encompassing direction where you feel just lost in these beautiful landscapes. Hopelessly, I might add. It's got beautiful colors. It's just a treat for the eyes. But it's not a treat for the brain, because the story here sucks. It's kind of like they're just going from place to place, from set piece to set piece of the book, with kind of no rhyme or reason. I feel like if you didn't read the book, you'd have no clue what was going on. And it's like none of the emotional arcs or even just story arcs are fulfilled in this. It's just kind of randomness for the sake of randomness. Like they want to do the dueling scene, because there's two families in the book who are like constantly doing it. It's a whole kind of thing that steps away from the main story, and you learn about this feud. And it's like it's a whole thing. But here it's just one scene where a kid is like, hey, and then he gets shot, and it's like, okay. But I will say that while the story is bad, it's not unentertaining. You're not gonna be you're gonna be bored at some points, but like after the first 40 minutes, I thought I'd only watched half of that. It goes by very quick. There's like some funny moments. It's a good movie. It probably maybe be nice just to watch it on mute and just pretend you're looking at a bunch of paintings at an art museum. I don't know how good it is as a literary work, which is bad. This movie is based off Huckleberry Finn. I never mentioned that this is a 1970s Soviet adaptation of Huckleberry Finn, which is the whole reason I watched it, because just the concept of 1970s Soviet adaptation of Huckleberry Finn is funny, and also because Huckleberry Finn is one of my favorite books, and there's no notable good adaptations of that, are there? Yeah. I should have written a script, sorry. So I did not watch the other Back to the Future movies this year, because I had already seen them. So I wasn't gonna watch them again. Well, I mean, I would watch it. They're good. I just watched this movie because I wanted to finish watching everything. And it's it's a fun movie. It's a good movie. I really, there's a lot of aspects in here I really love. I think it's really funny. The Tanner character is really funny. I really liked like Mari's arc especially. The setting is really fun. But the problem is I don't remember any of this. I looked at what I had written in my review after I watched the movie, and those are the things I said. But I don't even know who this Tanner character is that I say is so funny. And I think the reason I have almost no memory of this movie is because you just don't really get invested in it like you do the other Back to the Future movies. Like, I think it kind of comes down to kind of the whole love plot line just kind of not being executed well, in my opinion. It's just, like, I don't have anything against love subplots, but this kind of feels undeveloped. I don't feel any real need for this romance, and it kind of just takes away from the movie, kind of makes all those scenes boring. And the actress for the love interest is kind of just bad. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is about as high as I can put it if I don't remember anything from the movie. Sorry, guys. I am really sorry about this one. I know a lot of people are gonna be a bit mad at me for having The Social Network a bit low, especially when you compare it to what's directly after this one in my ranking. A lot of people are gonna have a lot of anger, is all I'm gonna say. But I think it's The Social Network is, it's a movie where everything is really good, you know? Like, the editing especially stood out to me. I love the screenplay. It's all really good stuff, but it's just missing something, like, I was bored throughout the movie, and kind of a lot of my marking what's a good movie is like, how bored am I, which I is kind of not that good of a mark. But it's like, if something has something exceptional and it still bores me, I'll still think it's a really good movie, But this kind of, everything's really great in this movie, but it's not exceptional. It's not anything stupendous. It's just like, in my mind, if I come up with a generic good movie, this is just what it would be. So it's not like the movie's bad. It's just everyone has their own personal taste, and this just doesn't fit into mine. I'm sorry. But fun fact, the day I was born is, according to this movie, the day the domain name for Facebook was registered. So I'm the same age as Facebook, which is pretty crazy because, people think Facebook's old, but I'm not old at all. But I guess, if a planet was founded that day, I'd be like, that's a pretty young planet. But also, planets, like, what do you mean you founded a planet? That's not, you mean you discovered one? Or it was like, do you mean that, or do you mean it was like created? Because you don't found a planet. I mean, you find a planet. I don't know what the correct terminology is for, like, the past tense of founding something when you're differentiating it from finding something. Because I feel like the past tense of found is the past tense of find, but found is also its own thing. See, I have nothing to talk about The Social Network. It's a boring movie. For me. If you like this movie, that's good. This isn't a movie I'm like, what I don't like is something universal, and if you like this, you're stupid. That's no. If you like this, I'm like, that's reasonable. Okay. I bet people are gonna love that this is above The Social Network. Whoa. Sorry, guys. See, this is the subjectivity of movies. I can like this one more than the other one, even though the other one's Social Network's probably a better movie than The Jungle Cruise. But let's get into the subject of this activity. You know what I'm saying? God. But what's the deal with The Jungle Cruise is that The Jungle Cruise, the ride, is like my favorite piece of media ever. It's just kind of holistically kind of the ideal aesthetic. I love every aspect about it, just on an aesthetic level. which at the end of the day, all you need in a piece of media is a cool aesthetic. And all you need from an anesthesiologist is a cool anesthetic, I'm gonna see. I haven't pre-written out jokes, so I'm just I'm just trying, man, but I'm failing. But anyways, I went to this movie and I thought there were two options. Either this would, by some miracle, capture the Jungle Cruise perfectly, and it would be like one of my favorite movies ever, or it was not going to be the Jungle Cruise. It was going to be a generic action movie, and I was going to hate it even more than I would a generic action movie for mistreating my favorite thing ever, which is kind of what I was expecting going in. But to my surprise, it's just kind of a good movie. It's nothing like special. It's not either side of the coin. It's just good. It's fun. In general, I feel like, it's got an interesting plot line. It's got some good, funny moments. I feel like The Rock is like an actual good actor. I'll talk about him a bit more later, but I feel like he's kind of one of those actors who, like, I'm not saying he's like a pinnacle of acting, but if you gave him a better movie, he'd probably do really good. Because he's usually the best part of any movie he's in. Yeah, there's no exception. But, yeah, how does this capture the Jungle Cruise? Well, I feel like there are some scenes that, like, feel Jungle Cruise-like. But the problem is, kind of, Jungle Cruise is all tongue-in-cheek. And this movie isn't that. I got really angry when The Rock said some little puns and then people groaned. Like, I don't want that in a Jungle Cruise movie. I don't want it to take the world seriously. It's supposed to be goofy. It's supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be Muppets, That's what I want. They should have made the Muppets Jungle Cruise instead of the Muppets Haunted Mansion. Can you imagine how sick that would have been? I would have, cried tears of joy if that was also this movie. So it was a theatrical release. And it got $12 billion in funding. They should have done that. But that's why I like The Rock in this movie. He's supposed to be the embodiment of the Jungle Cruise, which the movies should be the embodiment of the Jungle Cruise, but whatever. And he does it well. You believe him. He's charismatic. He's funny. He has the vibe of the Jungle Cruise, which is great. When a lot of the rest of the movie doesn't, but it's not like the rest of the movie is horrible. It's fun still. I feel like the best Jungle Cruise-esque moments were the action scenes. The action scenes all had these gags that felt like Jungle Cruise-y. Like, not like they would happen in the Jungle Cruise, because the Jungle Cruise doesn't have action scenes, because why would the Jungle Cruise have action scenes? But, like, what I would expect from a Jungle Cruise movie is these kind of goofier action scenes, which is dope. And it does have a lot of fun Jungle Cruise references. I won't spoil them in case you're a Jungle Cruise fan and for some reason you haven't seen the 2021 Jungle Cruise movie at the end of 2022. I don't... maybe you're just waiting for me, noted Jungle Cruise enthusiast Kendrick Bourse, to talk about it and to get his opinion on it, in which case I'm sorry. Keeping you on edge. But, I mean, some of it's bad, because when we talk about what this movie does that makes me so mad by breaking Jungle Cruise continuity. So first of all, the movie set in the 1910s. It genuinely makes me so mad because the whole aesthetic of the Jungle Cruise is 30s. It's supposed to be set in the it's such a strange change, because why would it be set in the 1910s? Like, what do they gain out of this? If they put in the 1930s, what really is going to make it more... Is it more profitable to be set in the 1910s? That's not what happened with Atlantis. You remember Atlantis, Disney? Maybe if Atlantis was set in the 30s and it failed, they would set this in the 30s. I don't know. It's like... It's like, why would you do that? And then they mess up continuity with that, because they mention, Albert Falls. And it's like, oh, Albert Falls is your favorite voice. I was like, yeah, that's Albert Falls from the Jungle Cruise lore. But it's like, he goes on his stuff in the 20s. You know, because the Jungle Cruise ride takes place in the 30s. So, like, how's this work continuity-wise? Is he now, like, in the 1890s? Are they going to keep pushing back? Because that's just going to make the likelihood of these characters being racist even higher. And I don't want that. But, yeah. I mean, there's a lot in this movie that makes me super angry, but I can't hate it. You know? It's still fun. It's still good. And it does just enough that what it does for making it Jungle Cruise fun for a Jungle Cruise fan is more than what it does to anger a Jungle Cruise fan. That's just what I gotta say about this one. This one's gonna be the longest entry because I'm the Jungle Cruise guy. Ask any one of my friends. They'll say, Kendrick, you mean the Jungle Cruise guy? And I'll come out of like a bush and I'll say, yeah, it's me, Kendrick. I mean the Jungle Cruise guy. I just hurt my neck. What was that? I got like a neck pain. This is the true unscripted Kendrick Bourse content. You wouldn't get this in the first video. Tell me in the comments below if you want me to just be lazy and be unscripted for all of these and have me go sicko mode. So, Emotion is, it's a short, experimental film, which I kind of feel like is entirely wrapped up in the director Obayashi, who made, House, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's also my most logged movie on Letterboxd, but that is with it being tied with Capybara Walking, which is a baller movie. But yeah, Obayashi is really good at just crafting these things that just are an emotion, like the title. That's pretty cool. But you don't like necessarily get a direct message or a direct theme in his work. It's just kind of a feeling of childhood, and that's what he crafts so well, and that's what makes this movie so good. I do feel though that this kind of transitions to more adult themes, which are kind of at odds with the style. I don't think it really captures the emotion that he's so good at capturing in the initial bits. But who knows? Maybe it's because I'm not an adult, so I don't know that kind of stuff. Wonka. What was that? If you vote like don't script these, I think you're a masochist. But yeah, what was I saying? This is more proof in the pudding. But still throughout, it's a very pretty looking movie. He's a good cinematographer. It all looks very pretty. It all looks pretty dope. But the emotional stuff in the first bit is really good. You really get this amazing vibe. But it's not anything great. That's because only now are we moving into the greats. That's right. We're in the 8 out of 10s, which is where we get into great movies. These are movies that I fully recommend. These fully have my blessings as films. These are really great. Just wow. I mean, they're not wow. They're just great. They're really good. I don't know. They're 8 out of 10s. That's what they are. Now, the first one up is the Defunctland Fast Pass video. Pretty dope. This is the most popular Defunctland video, which is good because it's a standalone video. So, if you watch it by itself, you can get into his other stuff pretty easy without having to worry about how it fits into one of his larger narratives. And I remember when I logged this, I was like, I can't wait. I mean, I wish there were more Defunctman videos on Letterboxd, because his other videos are, like, amazing. Like, and then, this year, his video that got released was put on Letterboxd. Can you believe it? My wish came true. And now, instead of it being my lowest 8 out of 10, this new video, my lowest 9 out of 10. What? Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, you know, let's not focus on what this doesn't have. Let's focus on what this does have, though. Like, if you're looking for just a non-connected to anything else introduction to Funkman, I would recommend his Disney theme song video. That is better. But if before that, this would be the video I would recommend, because I feel like his better videos are the ones that are more interconnected. But you have to put a lot more time into watching a full interconnected series of videos. But let's say this is funny and it's engaging. And that's kind of how it needs to be. You got your good jokes that make you go chuckle, and then he also makes this whole story super engaging. Like, you are super wrapped into this whole thing. Like, you know, I feel like this is probably his most engaging work. Like, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely the one that gets you the most invested. Just never slowing down to be boring. So, hats off to you, Kevin. Next up, we got a little thing you guys are gonna love called Mank. I'm sorry, I feel like Mank. If you're like, you're gonna say Mank's a great movie? Okay, whatever. I'm sorry, guys. This is kind of the video with all my bad opinions in it. You know, because I like movies that are probably worse than Mank, a lot more than Mank. But when you like something that much, it's like I can explain why this is super epic. But it's like this. Come on, it's Mank. I don't know why I liked this movie so much last year. That's kind of the funny thing about recording this. Basically, more than a year after I watched these movies and like rank them in this order, it's like what was going through my mind. But let's talk about this. Mank has fun characters that I am invested in. I watch these characters and I'm like, I care about them, which is what you want in a character-driven movie. And I also think it just looks cool. It's got characters I like and I'm engaged with, and it looks cool. You know, maybe I understand why I like this movie so much. I mean, it's not any insert good movie here, but it's good. You know, people hate Mank too much, but what I think holds Mank back from being like a, oh my god, this is so spectacular movie is it doesn't fully commit. I kind of feel like it wants to be this old Hollywood thing, but it never really gets the aesthetic quite right. It's kind of uncanny valley. And I feel like this is most obviously shown in the opening credits. It's like, well, I mean, the example is like the opening credits. They have like these little desk specs in the cards for the credits. So it's like an actual movie where from old times where they have the little title cards, it's the desk specs. But then like the scene immediately after, like these characters are saying like modern slang, and I don't know, maybe it's like a thing where it's, I don't know how people talked really in that era because I wasn't there, but it just takes you out. You know, it doesn't feel like an old movie like I would want. But still looks dope. Come on, you gotta admit it looks pretty dope. Stop hating on Mank. Twisted. It's a musical. I love musicals. I'm gonna say something a bit controversial. I think a musical is the ideal form of storytelling, not necessarily like a stage musical, but a movie musical. Uh, because you get the emotion of a song, which is really hard to capture in a movie. That's why, really good movies have really good soundtracks, but not all the time. Like my second favorite movie doesn't have like a crazy soundtrack or anything, so I don't know. But I feel like it's just baseline. Like if we're talking baseline, I'm gonna like the same movie if it's a musical more than if it's not. Usually, it's just because they have a better baseline, I guess. I don't know what I'm talking about, but Twisted goes hard. It's an epic movie. I love the genie. The genie's my favorite part. He's so funny. He's so silly. It's genuinely like the funniest thing I think I've ever seen is the genie in Twisted. It's, it's hilarious. That's why this got an 8 out of 10. If the genie wasn't there, like it's half a star out of a million is what this movie would get. And if it was just the genie, nothing else, a billion majillion stars out of one. That's just what I'm thinking, but disagree with me if you want, but you'll never be right. But for real, this movie is pretty dope. I mean, all the other characters are funny, that there are some bits of humor that I think are just kind of dealing off of the crass equals funny, which, you gotta have a bit more to it than that, you know what I'm saying? And then the music is really good. Almost all the songs they sound super good. And that's what you want from a song. First and foremost is it to sound good. I should start a music critiquing channel and be like, this sounds good, so it's good. People would go crazy. But, the actual plot, it's good. The more emotional things, it's good. It's not something. If it was something that I was like, this is so beautiful, it's so emotionally impactful to me, this would be like a perfect movie. But it's just good. It's got some scenes that make you tear up a little bit, but it's nothing that you go like, wow, this is Assassins. That's my favorite stage musical, by the way. But I didn't watch it last year, and it's also not on Letterboxd, so womp womp womp. Love Song for Latasha kind of sucks because I feel like it's a bit insensitive to be silly here. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think it can be making jokes. If you don't know, Love Song for Latasha is basically just kind of this docu short about this girl who was a target of racial violence. And I feel like what's really good about this is that when you look at these huge problems and you look at them as huge problems, it can be kind of like derealization. You don't, if someone says this statistic and that statistic, it doesn't seem real. They're just numbers. And I feel like what you really need to really show the weight of an issue like racial injustice is these kind of smaller, more personal stories, because that is what we as humans relate to, is these human stories. So I feel like on that facet, it's really effective, and it's also just a good movie. Besides just its subject matter, I really like how it uses animation to portray emotions. It's told well, you know. But that's kind of all there is to say, because I'm not gonna be here making jokes about this one, and this is already super long. So yeah, watch Love Song for Latasha. It's a short, you can handle it. The problem with Sound of Metal. Jesus, I see why this video is so long. Is that it's just like a good movie. You know, there's what commentary do you want me to give? You want me to be like, oh, this has got good acting, it's got good directing, it's got good use of sound. It's like everyone knows that, unless like you haven't heard of Sound of Metal, and it's like the same things I can say about any movie, unless like the premise specifically interests you. Like, but you can just look up the premise. Like, what you want to you go through my top 10 movies, and I just list the premise. Like, what the heck? I hate when reviews are like that, where it's just like they're like, Sound of Metal is the story of a yeah. You know, it's like, Jesus Christ. I watched the movie, man. I get it. But yeah, Sound of Metal sounded good. I think I really like the characters here. I think the acting is just so well done, and like every supporting character, and Riz, Ahmed, they all do such a good job, and it just makes you like really care for all these characters, which is kind of a running theme of all these movies out here, because it's a running theme of a good movie that you care about the characters. But it's an interesting plot too. I mean, I think it just has really interesting themes. It sits with you a while. You watch it, and then it's like you get the second watch in your head when you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's the end of that. I don't care anymore.